But Clara wasn't done. She stood, her voice steady. "I trusted this school, and you let this happen." The principal lowered her eyes. "Mrs. Reyes, you're right, and we will fix this." Gabriel placed a supportive hand on Clara's shoulder. "You're not alone in this. I'll make sure she's protected." This was the moment Clara realized something she hadn't expected. She didn't have to fight this battle by herself. And Emily realized something too. She didn't have to be silent anymore. The days that followed were challenging. Emily struggled with fear, flinching at loud sounds, hesitating to enter the school building. But each day, Gabriel met her at the gate, calm, steady, reassuring. He became a presence she learned to trust. Clara noticed it first. Emily's shoulders relaxed around him. She smiled a little. She began drawing again. Pictures of a tall man helping a small girl stand, pictures of her mother holding her hand, pictures of strength returning to her world. One afternoon, as Clara arrived to pick her daughter up, Gabriel walked with them to the bus stop. Emily skipped ahead a few steps, humming. Clara glanced at Gabriel. "You've done more for her than you realize." "I just gave her what someone once gave me," he replied. "A chance to believe she matters." There was something in his tone, an old hurt, healed but not forgotten. Clara didn't ask then, but she understood. Everyone carries scars. Sometimes they make people colder. But sometimes, they make them protect others like a calling. Gabriel was the second kind. As weeks passed, the transformation was undeniable. Emily grew braver. She walked taller. The shadows that once clung to her began to fade. Clara too changed. She learned to forgive herself for not seeing the signs earlier. She learned that strength wasn't about never breaking, it was about standing back up, again and again, for the ones you love. One Friday afternoon, after Emily ran ahead toward her classroom, Clara turned to Gabriel. "You saved her," she said softly. "I don't know how to thank you." Gabriel looked at her with a sincerity that warmed the air between them. "I didn't save her. She saved herself. I just stood beside her while she did." Clara felt her breath catch. There was something humble and true in his words, something that reached a part of her she had kept hidden for years. Maybe healing comes not only from fighting battles, but from letting someone stand beside you while you fight them. The real test came weeks later. The boys who once tormented Emily returned from suspension. The entire school watched the reunion with tense curiosity. Would history repeat itself? Would the fear return? Emily stood at her locker, her hands trembling slightly. Clara, waiting by the gate, held her breath without realizing it. But Gabriel watched Emily with confidence. He believed in her strength even when she didn't. One of the boys approached her in the hallway. This time, he wasn't smirking. He wasn't mocking. His shoulders slumped, his eyes lowered. Weeks of counseling had changed something inside him too. "I'm sorry," he muttered. "We were wrong." Emily stared at him, stunned. And then she did something no one expected. She nodded, not because she had forgotten the pain, not because she excused it, but because she was choosing something bigger than the hurt. She was choosing closure. That was the moment Emily's transformation completed. The shy girl who once clung to her mother's hand now stood tall, facing the world without trembling. Clara cried when she heard. She hugged her daughter so tightly that Emily giggled, embarrassed but proud. Gabriel smiled quietly. "Told you, she's stronger than all of us." The story could have ended there. But life often gives more when we least expect it. Clara and Gabriel continued crossing paths. Casual conversations turned into smiles. Smiles turned into shared walks. Shared walks turned into long talks at the bus stop while Emily played. Clara found herself laughing more, feeling lighter, healing old wounds she never acknowledged. Gabriel, who once lived with emotional walls built high from a painful past, let those walls soften, brick by brick, around Clara and Emily. One evening, after a school event, Emily grabbed Gabriel's hand and pulled him toward the parking lot. "Are you coming for ice cream with us?" she asked hopefully. Gabriel looked at Clara, hesitant but hopeful too. Clara smiled. "If you want to, I'd like that," he said. And just like that, a new chapter began, not rushed, not forced, but natural, warm, gentle. A family forming not out of necessity, but out of healing. Out of choice. Months later, on a bright spring afternoon, Clara found herself standing with Gabriel at the edge of the park while Emily played a few yards ahead. The air smelled of blossoms and sunlight, and laughter echoed around them. Gabriel looked at Clara with quiet gratitude. "You know, that first day, When she held your hand so tight, I didn't know what I'd find. I just knew I had to ask. And I didn't know anyone would care, Clara admitted. But you did, and that changed everything. Gabriel took her hand gently, not tightly, not urgently, but with the kind of careful certainty of someone who understands the value of trust. Clara let her fingers intertwine with his. Ahead of them, Emily twirled in the sunlight, free and fearless, no longer the girl who trembled, but the girl who conquered her fear with courage she didn't know she had. And in that moment, Clara realized something powerful. Sometimes life breaks us so it can rebuild us stronger. Sometimes darkness brings people together who were always meant to find each other. And sometimes, the smallest voices, shaken, scared, quiet, become the strongest warriors of all. Emily ran toward them, laughing, her cheeks pink with joy. Mom, Gabriel, come play with me. Clara and Gabriel exchanged a look, one full of warmth, gratitude, and the unspoken promise of a future none of them had expected but all of them now cherished. Hand in hand, they walked toward the child who had once clung to her mother's fingers in fear but now reached out to the world with open arms. And as they joined her on the bright green field, the sun setting behind them, their shadows stretched long and connected. 3 hearts, 1 story, bound not by blood but by the courage to heal and the kindness to begin again. If you've listened to this story all the way to the end, let it remind you of something important. No matter how dark the moment, no matter how heavy the fear, there is always a way forward. There is always someone willing to help. There is always strength inside you waiting to rise. And healing, real healing, begins the moment you choose to believe you deserve better. If this story touched your heart, inspired you, or made you feel something real, please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more stories like this to life. Thank you for being here.